observations. One, talking about some of the demographics in the United States and talking about some of the specific campaigning. I just had my annual leave in the United States, and I live in Virginia, and that is a swing state, and that means that both parties, both candidates, all of the political action committees are spending millions of dollars on advertising. You cannot turn on the television, you cannot turn on the radio, you cannot pick up a newspaper without or your telephone without one party or the other being in your face. And they are targeting the advertising. If they are advertising in an area with a large Spanish-speaking population, they're talking about immigration. If they're in an area where they've done their research and they found out that last time Obama got 51% of the female vote and Romney got 49%, they're targeting the women voters. It is a science, the campaigning in the United States, and everything is drilled down to how do I talk to you about your issue. So those demographics are hugely important, and getting that one fraction of 1% advantage is what they're shooting for. Looking at the mechanics, God love you for understanding our electoral college, because nobody in America does. Okay? A cynic will tell you that the founders of our country put together the electoral college because they did not trust the electorate, and they wanted a fail-safe in there so that people who really knew what was going on could ignore what the electorate had said. That's a cynical view. A states' rights advocate will argue that the Electoral College was put in so that small states would still have some leverage. If you look at the electoral map of the United States right now, and you're a Republican, and you live in California, the only reason you would bother to get up on November 6th and go to the polling place is for your own heart and your own soul, because your vote will not count. Obama will win California by more than 2 million votes, and that is a reality. Obama will get the 55 Electoral College votes from California. That is not going to change. There are those 9, 10, 11, depending on how you count it, states that are the swing states, like Virginia, my home state, that has 13 Electoral College votes. That's where the campaign happens. And their analysts have broken it down. They know which counties in Virginia are swing counties, and they won't waste their time in the counties where the other one has a great advantage. So you're oh, and Ohio. Why is Ohio a swing state, and why is it so important? Because Ohio is a microcosm of the United States. It has a large working class population. It has people that work in factories or recently worked in factories and have been laid off, made redundant as factories have closed. It also has a large population of people that work in technology, or I'm just going to turn that off and talk loudly. People that work in technology are people that are what we refer to as, I don't know what color my collar is, but white-collar voters, professionals that tend to be more Republican-oriented. So whichever way the economy is going, that affects Ohio. And so if the Republicans can convince 5% of those blue-collar working-class voters to swing over to the Republican side, that's a big indicator that the country's swinging that way. If the Democrats can convince a few of those people working in air-conditioned offices that are earning $175,000 a year to swing over to the Democratic side, then that's an indicator that the country can swing in that direction. So that's why Ohio is really a laboratory of American democracy. And then foreign policy. I am an American diplomat. I work on foreign policy every day, and hardly any voters in America could care less about foreign policy when they go in to vote for the president. You'll see the candidates thump their chests a little bit and try to court some of those thin slices of the demographics. You'll see them try to get the Cuban vote. When we talk about the Spanish-speaking vote, Cuban Americans are very different from Honduran Americans. They're very different from Mexican Americans. Cuban Americans tend to vote Republican. And so if you're a candidate and you want to get the Cuban vote, you're going to talk about being tough on Castro, tough on Cuba. But if you are a candidate and you want to get the Honduran American vote or the Mexican American vote, you're going to talk about liberalizing immigration policy, protecting undocumented aliens that are in the United States. Totally different conversation. The African American vote, if you can find me 10 African Americans that are voting for Romney, they're probably at the convention right now. The African American vote is going to be 98% plus Obama. The trick is getting people to the polls. Just because 98% will answer their phone and say, I'll vote for Obama, doesn't mean they're going to get up on that morning and get down to the polls. So the big challenge for the Democrats is getting people out of their houses and down to the polling places. But yeah, the Indian press is covering what's in the platforms about India. The only Americans that are reading that are NRIs that are picking up the Times of India online or the Hindu online. Most Americans are not following foreign policy in terms of the presidential election. One of the debates, though, is going to focus on foreign policy, and I would encourage, if you can only manage to watch one of the debates, I think for you, that will be the most interesting of the presidential debates.